Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Fiqh Made Easy. Today we are discussing two topics. One is qaza fasting and the second is kafara related to fasting. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Could you please tell us what qaza fasting is?
Qaza fasting is to make up for a compulsory fasting that has been either broken or missed out.
Okay. So what would kafara related to fasting be?
Kafara is the penalty one has got to pay for that compulsory fasting that has been broken or missed out. And there's two kinds of it.
Okay, could you explain the difference between these two kinds for us?
Yes, there's a kafara for compulsory fasting that has been broken deliberately, intentionally, and one is that it's been missed out due to a number of reasons.
So could you explain to us what kafara would be for a fast that we've deliberately broken?
For deliberately breaking or missing out fasting, compulsory fasting, is that one has got to either fast 2 consecutive months, that is 60 days, plus make up for the day that is missed out, that means 61 days altogether.
Okay.
And for this there is a condition that if one decides to do this fasting, make up for it, it's got to be 30 days in one go plus another 1 day of the second month. That is 31 days in one go without breaking, and then the rest of the second month can be made up later on a gradual basis. But if this person who decided to do it sees that 31 days falls probably and the period of, we said there are forbidden days during the year that one cannot fast. If it falls on those days, they've got to restart again or just wait and do it at the period that those days don't clash with the 31 days.
Okay.
And then it's feeding 60 people. That is, we say mod ta'am, that the meaning is mod means the quantity of it, which is 750 grams of, and the ta'am means is either flour, wheat, barley, bread or dates, and it cannot be anything other than that. I mean, people cannot go and say I'm feeding these poor people, needy people with chicken, meat or whatever different dish.
So only those specified?
Only those specified, and that amount, 750
okay.
grams.
So 750 grams, okay.
And also it's free and slave, which nowadays it's not applicable because you can't find slaves to free.
Yeah.
So that's for compulsory kafara.
Okay. What about the other kafara which you mentioned?
Yeah, and the other one is that it's not called actually kafara, it's called fidya more like, because it's not intentional. It's because of some circumstances people have to break their compulsory fasting, and those circumstances one can name them under, like somebody is pregnant, becomes pregnant, it's not good for the baby or her health, or breastfeeding, or is sick, somebody becomes sick. So these people have got to wait until the period is gone and then make up for it. And or they are old people and they know that for the rest of their lives they are not going to be able to make up for it. So these actually in that case all these people, or they're traveling as well. So these people make up for it after all this condition has been sort of come back to normal. If within, and these people have got to do this, fulfill it, that means do qaza fasting, before the beginning of the next fasting month, next year, right, that is. If they go over that, then they have to wait, fast the next year of fasting month, and then after that make up for the missed out days, plus they have to pay a penalty, and that is only one ta'am for one per person, like 1 mod per day that they have missed out, and that's called fidya. And if is a poor person, say older person, and knows there is no chance of like in the future being able to fulfill the fasting, yearly fasting, what happens, they give fidya per 1 mod ta'am per day, and then after having a healthy, long, happy life, once they have passed away, their eldest son is obligatory on their eldest son to fulfill that fasting for them, either to fast for them or to pay someone to do it for the parent that is missed out. And this is obligatory. If they don't do, they are actually sinning. And for the ladies who are under that particular monthly cycle, and they make up for it later on.
Could you explain to us what the combined kafara is?
Yeah. Combined kafara is when somebody breaks the wajib, the compulsory fasting, by committing a void act, sin, haram, that's forbidden act, like adultery or like drinking alcohol, which in itself is a sin. And this is done on the fasting month, breaking a wajib, a compulsory fasting. Then they have to pay penalties, collective penalty, kafara jam. And that means to pay all those 3 kinds in one go. They cannot have either fasting 2 months or feeding 60 people or freeing a slave. It's got to be all 3 of them. Freeing a slave doesn't apply nowadays, but the other 2 have got to be done in together, collectively. And there is another kafara as well. That is, if somebody is come now to do qaza fasting to make up for the compulsory fasting which is gone by, and on that day again deliberately breaks it, there is a kafara for that as well, and that is freeing a slave again, then feeding people, 10 people rather than 60 people which we had before, and also fasting 3 consecutive days rather than 60 days.
So it would be 10 days of kafara and 3 days of fasting rather than 61 days of fasting.
This is to make up for the qaza of the qaza.
I see. Okay.
Was a fasting.
There was one other point regarding to kafara.
Yes, it's kafara is the travelers, people who travel, if they fast and they don't know the rules and they find out later, their fasting is void, although they've carried on. But if they find in the middle of their traveling is void, and they have to make up for it later. If they find that after they've finished the travel, it's fine.
Could you explain to us what fetria is?
Yeah, fetria is sort of people, when the fasting month is finished, 30 days is finished, and they've completed it, is in the form of money they pay out, but it's the cost of one portion of food, not any food. This is where you can bring in cost of meat or chicken or very luxury food, but something that it is customary between most of the people, and that is paid out, and it is wajib as well, and it's got to be put aside the night of the Eid al-Fitr.
So on the last night of
Ramadan, yes. Which is different from fidya, which we said fidya has got to be only flour, flour, wheat, barley, bread, and dates, nothing else.
Okay, is there any other point that you feel might be of importance to discuss?
Yes, one thing is here then. There are like 9 type of actions that void fasting. Out of these 9, 2 of them are very important. If one on a day that is compulsory fasting and breaks it deliberately, plus the person commits these acts, which is masturbation and having sexual relationship with their partner, and does this repeatedly on the day, for the number of the repetitions, there's kafara to be paid. That means it's got to be for the day that he's broken deliberately, plus for the sin he's committed number of times. If he's done twice, it will be twice 60 days. Twice 2 months. That means 4 months and 120 days of fasting. But other than that, for the rest of the things that they avoid, they break the fasting. Swimming, diving into the water actually, or eating food deliberately, except those 2 acts that I mentioned before. The rest of the ones that void fasting, no matter how many times one repeats them during the day, it's only one kafara payable. That means if somebody eats once broken the fasting, eats 3 times food, he only pays for 1 kafara.
Thank you very much for explaining all this to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next time, inshallah.